Bienvenue, YouTube. Welcome to Train Sim Classic. My name is Emily. Today we are here at Peterborough. I was just here over the weekend. I was in a waiting room over here. This is a waiting room now, not just a little thing of cover. And I was sitting in here. And then my train picked me up and I sat on this bench for a while and watched the trains come and go. We've got a pair of Class 387s today. One's in XC2C livery, one's in X Great Western livery. These have now mostly been moved down to the south to work for Southern. However, like I say, we've got them here on Great Northern at the moment. This is sort of 2024, 2023, 2024 sort of scenario. Or 2024, more accurately. We'll key on the desk. Now, this is going to be about an hour and a half's run, so I may split this into two separate videos just to make you aware. And yes, I'm in DOO mode. I believe it's 1010, yep. There we go, so that's now my route set up, so the PIS works. And now release my doors. And there goes Sarah with a train load of aggregate from, I believe that's Sorrel to March working. So reverse is in neutral, everything else is set. We'll do 1 Papa, 9, 3, I'm going to say, I can't remember the signal number here, so I'm going to double check that before we depart. 436 for the signal alias number, and the, fuck, I can't speak, and the signal number. There we go. So that is the train set up ready for departure. And there goes, so it's a rake of IOA and JNA, so that tends to be pretty prototypical to what you see in real life. Quite scratched up that back one. Do love the weathering on those. That's the AR Aaron Robinson IOAs. Got 387, 302. And on the back, I believe it's 174. 172. So you can see one's got the GWR seats, obviously. And so you got GWR seats. Oh, I can't actually switch to the non-GW seats. Interesting. We've got the road set for us now, so I've released the park and brake. We've got about 3 minutes. Actually, no, it's the park and brake. I'll leave the DRA set because it's 3 minutes. And we'll just stay in the. We'll have a look around Peterborough. So, like I say, I was here at the weekend. We're doing engineering diverts. We were leaving at Peterborough. It's now Monday morning. This is a rather useful little Waitrose. How far does the detailed scenery go? So I went for a sort of bit of a walk. So I went into the town. The town hall sort of here, and this is sort of Peterborough Cathedral as well. Walk around and down, and then back up this road, because I was like, my legs hurt, I'm going for a sit down. And then walk through the car park, and was a bit miserable at cars. Maxwell at 387. I do love this bridge. It looks like, when you see it in real life, it looks like there should be more support on it. Again, my sort of usual perspective, it's about this. How long have I got? No clock in this cab, I've noticed. Unless you log into my track. Hang on. Yes, you do log into my track. We've got a minute till we depart. So what we'll do is we'll pull our little window down. At the 30 seconds to go mark, I'll shut the doors and we'll go. It's not 2012, it's 2024. I will change that now that I've realised it's actually visible somewhere in the scenario. So 30 seconds to go. We will close the doors. PTI's lovely and clear. Trains. Oh well, he's got on somehow. We'll wait till exactly the time to go. Yeah, they're going to face through the doors because, as far as the visuals concerned, the doors are closed. As far as the game's concerned, they're open. So we've got the tip from the thing. Reverser goes forward. Signal check. DRA release. Let's take power and go. And we are, of course, an 8 car. 387. Our first stop is Huntingdon. So generally speaking, alternates on the East Coast Main under 40 miles an hour, so just to go slightly slower. Makes it more comfortable for the punters, because 387s ride quite badly. And then we'll just rag it. It's the back of the train, so it clears over the points. 100 miles an hour is our is our restriction, so even though these are licensed for 110 running, for whatever reason on the East Coast they only like to run 100. There's some sort of work that's been done to the Great Western ones that they like to go faster. Actually, no, these will be allowed for 110. These are all Great Westerns, so we're going to go for 110 today. There you go. We'll get to Huntingdon a little bit early. You get a lot of vegetation encroachment here, actually. So I remember we got stopped here, and basically all the bushes here are so close to the track they push up against the side of the train. There'll be these trees here. So we're absolutely going for it, giving it beans. I'll shut the window. Now, like I say, this is, yes, so Peterborough, that's the down slope, the up slope correction, and that is, I can't remember the name of the junction, but that's the access to the Dean Valley Railway. We're just going to rag it. Leave the throttle wide open. Obviously, this is a 377 cab. AP didn't decide not to make the 387 cab. But, yeah. Like I say, we're going for the 110 here, and then I'll just go into idle and hit 110. First time I've ever had one of these at 110 actually, because I tend to drive them to the 100 limit. But I've just, like I say, thought about it today, and these two will likely be allowed for 110 running. Or approved for 110 running. So we're just going to run them at 110. Because it's a bit of a different perspective on what we'd normally do this time, because they're normally restricted to the 100. It just changes the game of purposes slightly for you. And she's flying. Harrigan coming the other way. Throttle goes into idle, and we'll just coast it for a bit. And then you got your two in diesel mode, interestingly. Yeah. So I'll really quickly show you the sound of him, because he is in diesel, right? Yes, his pans are down, so he should be in diesel mode. So listen how different he sounds at speed. I think I'll change him to electric mode. You can definitely hear the GUs there, the generator units. Yeah, it's about the right noise levels for you guys. I'll pull myself down too, ever so slightly. Back into full power, get up to 110. Apologies for that. And again. So what is there to talk about? Well, I have recently started carrying a body camera at work. So as you know, I'm catering crew on for a large East Coast mainline train operator. That's what I'm going to say. And all opinions on my own. of course, and I'm doing my best to conform. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Conform to work social media policy when I say this. I'm really glad the company lets me have one. This will be an electric, this is a Zoomer, so we'll listen to what he sounds like. He'll sound very different, but then we'll talk about body cams. 387 noises, and there you go. So most of that will actually be the running sounds, because for example, the driving vehicles don't have engines in them, and so that'll just be the sounds of like the wheels being spun, basically. But anyway, yes, I'm glad the company lets me have one, but I think it's disappointing, deeply disappointing, that we live in a time where I feel safer for having a body camera. That's what I'll say. Yeah, so say I carry one. Had it for 3 days, and so obviously colleagues are new to the idea of body worn cameras with hosts because I think I'm the first host in the company to have one. And there's been some sort of like talking about this is what a body camera is at. Well, this is how it works. This is what it actually does. No, no, like the management can't decide to watch this to see what you're actually doing. Um, there's and they can't basically pull what is Emily doing at 8:11 on the 30th of July. But if I activate it, they can see what happened for 30 seconds before I activate it. And again, that would only be pulled in the event that I submit a log to say, hey, I've been assaulted or verbally abused. Then they can look at that. And yeah, like I say, overall, but the reaction from like the members of the public, overall, more respectful, and that I find very sad. That you have to have a camera pointed at you to not be a dickhead. But anyway, I say you, it's the royal you, of course. And I know you wouldn't be disrespectful towards me, but there are people out there who would. And when I say disrespectful, I don't mean disrespectful. I mean abusive. But So first station stop is about 17 miles. So it's a decent chunk of the journey. So it's 75 miles our journey today. And I will give you a little thing here. There is a diversion involved, as I said in the title. So we're not going to be running via Welland Garden City. We're going to run via Hartford North and the Hartford Loop. So we're going to turn off at Stevenage and run via the Hartford Loop, not via the East Coast Main Line. And I do think that's an interesting little thing. I'm not sure if Great Northern would get a path to run down there. What would likely happen is they'd get terminated. Would get terminated at Stevenage, then sent empty to Letchworth, yeah, Letchworth Garden City, Letchworth Sidings, and dumping the unit in there until the disruption finished, then getting it back out to complete its diagram later on in the day. And someone like LNER would agree to take our passengers from Stevenage to London. And that because I believe LNER has priority on paths in certain areas. So Thameslink does for southbound, LNER does for northbound, I believe. Strange little things like that. So LNER will get regulated up to if they're more than 4 minutes delayed, I think, or if the Thameslink more than 4 minutes delayed. The southbound and northbound, I think it's the same thing. So LNER, so the Thameslink would so LNER would get held for Thameslink to be put out to Peterborough, and Thameslink will get held for LNER to be put out at Finsbury Park. Finsbury Park. Double amble, single amble next. I can correct that. Oh, I'm having a stroke. Of genius. Oh dear. That's an extra break, I believe. Because off, one, two. Single amble, right ahead. Back down to a red. Interesting. Let's see what that's about. That may just be the checking me down to turn me off. Yeah. Oh, I forgot that was still broken. Sorry about that. So this scenario is actually based off the 30th of July, and I believe it's 2024. Reflecting on it, because this scenario's been out a while. And the idea is that, but so the thing is, it's so the all the units you see are correctly added. So the correct you see the correct whole trains units. The only thing I've changed is obviously rearrange the diversion, and that's where the skill of a scenario creator comes in. It's not just taking a timetable and transferring that into train sim. It's actually like being able to disrupt the timetable and make it work again. And that's why I think it would be great to work in service delivery. Please hire me for service delivery. Thank you. Yes, it's a 40. I thought it was a 40 for the turnout. And that's Huntington Station. And then you got the overbridge, which is, I believe that one's now gone, and that one remains. So if you saw the horrendous events that happened, this was stabbing on the train, that the Azuma was in here. Got Thameslink 700 departing northbound. Uh oh. I panicked and choked it, but I think I must have been back the right place actually. A little bit long. No, it's going to be about right actually. So technically it's a little bit short, so we'll just notch one. And doors on the left. There goes a Desi in 700. Yeah, 700. No, the 387's going to C2C. I never understood why they got them. So I was going to say, obviously these used to work via the core, but no, they didn't. Um, because of the C2C ones, they never worked for Thameslink. So obviously the Great Northern ones were cascaded from Thameslink operations. But I always I was sort of thinking about it and reflecting. Uh, green, let's go. And you know, like the basically just like the waste of these being at C2C because they only sort of did two trains a day, and the C2C mainline's like 40 miles long, so they are very low mileage units. Obviously, some of them went to Great Western for a bit to cover for unavailable 800s that were cracked. Um, the rate that they're fixing, that's mad. It's going to take about 10 years to fix all of them. Now we continue along the slow lines. As we accelerate up to line speed, we'll use the chance to check that first next stop, sorry, is St. Neots. Well, I know it's 7.5 miles, but it's just good to keep an eye on because sometimes they'll have you stop at, say, they'll have you skip a station for no apparent reason, basically. And it's Team Biscuits with a manager if you stop and release the doors there. 65, 70. Getting the high speed traction motor sounds fading in. 74, and I bet that'll do. And just cruise it for a bit. And I'm going on a first date in 2 hours. Jesus. Jesus Christ. I'm going to mute this now. There we go. Crap. Overdrove it. Overbeansed it. The overbeansing by 2 or 3 miles an hour is not a big deal. So I recovered it quite quickly. You know, there is an expectation that if you're driving to the speed limit, you will go 1 or 2 miles an hour, but you have to correct it quite quickly. If I was just staying at 77, 78 and leaving it there, that would be an issue. Or if I was regularly over exceeding it. So I'm going to leave that in the video. There's not going to be a refilm for that. There's a pretty iconic video from that level crossing back there of someone's come out to film the Flying Scotsman and gets completely bowled by an HSC. It's VTech days. Um, there we go. Just keep cruising along. Cruising right along. Dugga-dung, dugga-dung. London King's Cross. That's interesting that the rear units have got the software, or the PIS, indicating which vehicle number it is. The front ones do not. How fascinating is that? I do wonder if that's intentional, that's just a bug. Now, I do need to have a little look at my notes for what my breaking point is for St. Neots. We're looking out for an 80 board to the end of the night, and it's gotta be big, and it's gotta be reflective, and it's gotta be something, something of the night. I need an 80 board. Do, do. Sorry. I'm not drunk, you are. That's the 80 board. And we'll go 1, 1000, 2, 1000, step on brake. St. Neots, I can see the platform approaching there on the right. And at St. Neots, we need to stop at the end for the S-car marker. That was in step 2. I wasn't. Step 3 for a bit. I'm not doing very well at stopping trains today. Back into step 2. To step 1. Off. St. Neots. Zoomer. Ten-car Zoomer. And door release on the right. I know the 387s are pretty unpopular, but I do love the way Electrostar looks. I can't wait for these to come to blow gauge with a Kira scale. Got our doors released still. It's a shame that all the doors open. I know this is sort of work been fixing later past coaching things, but alas. Close the doors. Let's go. Next up, Biggleswade. Biggleswade. Full power. Let's go. Do do be do do be do do be do be do be do. So I believe yes we are. No, we skip after Biggleswade. Apologies. You know, so yes, of course we skip Sandy and Arlsey. Arlsey. So yes, start limit is 80 though, which is always fun. And games. So just gonna let the train accelerate up nicely. I think this is sort of my ideal for commuter operations because I really struggle with the proper S-Bahn stuff where it's like accelerate, brake, accelerate, brake. But when you've got a decent little run like we do today, it's quite nice, I find. There we go. So what else can we talk about today? I've talked about my body cam. So I am going to definitely be using them more, and I'm going to probably do a little blog post in my diary on the Dad Rail Discord about like the process with body cams and what. Not exactly like the full details because I think some of that makes sense to keep private. Not necessarily secret, but definitely private. And yeah, getting overtaken there. That's quite fun. I quite like it when we overtake the commuter units. It's quite fun to like watch them go past maybe 10, 15 miles an hour. See, that Azuma should be going faster, but train sim is the reason it isn't. But in his defence, he's coming up on an adverse signal, so he's probably checking down for that. Wonder what he's getting signal checked for. I'm on greens. You never know, might just be someone in the track doing something and they want a line block in situ. Situ. Situ? Situ, situ. Oh, I'm so incredibly funny. I'm just nervous because he's getting checked down for something. I don't know what that is. He's following. Oh, he might be. That Zoom might have stopped ahead for whatever reason. It was still in slow. And he's just following that down. Northbound zoom zoom, southbound zoom zoom, and us. I love that I'm notch one apparently for sustaining it, but we'll just go idle for a bit and then go back in notch one. Yeah, I think he was just following something, so he's not accelerating away from us. That's convenient. This is fine. So this scenario is as per the working timetable. So there is basically the idea is that it's track circuit failure southbound, so southbound service is being diverted via Hartford when we get to Stevenage. So there's not as much coming northbound. I think actually there might be one or two things that get put that way due to the line block that was taken by PY. But then it's basically quite a quick thing to resolve. So they can be very, very agile in the sense of getting people onto Hartford and stuff and not diverts. But then actually it resolves quite quickly. This is Sunday. It's not Biggleswade. We've got another northbound zoomer. They do come in waves. Because that'll probably be Leeds. Prior to the recent timetable change, there wasn't much of anything, much of it, there were 10 cars going out on Anglo Scott. But basically, what happened there was what happens is you get, or you used to get the on the hour the O3, and then so they would run quite close together at least initially, and then the 16 or 17, I believe, and then you get similar things in terms of routes bunching up on the way into London. Remember, as a no, as a TOC, LNER is a get people to London kind of company. So they'll go through different stations at different times, but they bunch up in certain areas. Like Newcastle northbound, they used to bunch up. Yeah. So like, whilst for example Anglo Scott used to be 2 trains per hour for LNER, you'd get like maybe the flyer would come through quite close to the stopper. So actually, you'd maybe have like a 40-minute gap of no trains. Um, so it's not bad, but 40 minutes is just a long time to wait. 75. Single blast to the horn. It's 1.16 miles to Biggleswade to that signal. This signal we've put a brake in. There's Biggleswade. I'm going to step on it in because supposedly on Electrostars you're supposed to step on brake because step 2 is very noticeable braking. And I'm just sort of seeing what the unit makes of it. Step 2. That's step 1. Don't know what that one would be. We've seen 3 go northbound quite close together. So that could be, I guess, one of the Yorks or the Lincoln. So they've just bunched up for whatever reason coming through northbound. There's an 8-car marker. No, there's not. It's an S-car marker for us. That 8 cars for the main platform. So just bring it to a stand at the end here. These car markers. Shush. Don't want to hear about it. Doors free platform, that's what I care about. And over here, you've got Biggleswade Plasmor. So this has usually got some PNA wagon stuck in it. I'll add some before. So I've been updating this scenario. This one I've got to download. And I was like, I should record it 'cause it's quite a good run. I also love the sky on this. And our next stop will be no, it'll be Stevenage. Yes. So we skip Hitchin and Halsey. And there you have it. You heard it here first, folks. So next stop, like I say, is Stevenage, about 13 miles. So yes, like I say, I do like this end of the East Coast, man. It's quite an interesting route. I do wish we had it in Train Sim World. I'll say that. We've got all the stock for it now, pretty much except the Mark IVs. And okay, I know it's got 800 out of twos, which we haven't seen yet, but they are units. Um, they are all units that you can sort of fake with other stuff. In a similar way to the fact that we don't have 720s, but we do. Yeah. Let's put the driver's menu up. There we go. So it's 8:38 now. 37 minutes driving in. Well, no, sorry, 33 minutes I've been driving. If I was on a Zoomer, I'd be 8 minutes from London now. Because it's about 45 minutes. Now, I'll be honest, I've forgotten my line speed. We just passed Biggleswade, sorry. 75. Cool, that's where I'm at. Off. Let it coast down a bit. So let's say the next station we'll visually pass through will be Alsey. It's about 4 miles from Biggleswade. Speak of the devil. We are in the 80 now, though. And we'll go idle again. And the next station we'll pass through will be Hitchin. The landmark for approaching Hitchin is the flyover for towards Cambridge, Cambridge Junction, shockingly named. No, it's I basically had one of the train managers just ask me random questions about the route, and I got most of them. Bear in mind, this wasn't anything to do with me, like but with Sprints, and this was just me at work because I one of the career paths I'm interested in is being a train manager. I'm not sure though because I'll be honest, I've been at work for 10 days straight. When you're anywhere doing anything for 10 days straight, you're not going to be in a good mood by the time you're finished. Like you've had 10 days of tiny little things that you can normally just ignore, really annoying you. Um, Who I've been muted for forever. Oh well. Um, so yeah, we got the message at Steve. I'm not re-recording it. I'm an hour in. I'm not re-recording it. We got the message at Stevenage to say we were going for Hartford. We then had the agreement with the father. That would have been a so would normally had we not had the message to be told that we were going to be diverting, we would have been we would have been anticipating obviously the diverging um, brain got broad. We would have been anticipating going via the main line, so we would have stopped and challenged the route. So we would have stopped, rang signal, and said, "Hello, signal, what are you doing? This isn't my route." Yeah, we're okay to pass that. A danger, good. Basically, all these, I call them the lollipop signals, they are defective on this section line. I believe they're called VMS signals in real life. So I just keep getting danger aspects on them. But I'm just going to travel this at line speed. Yeah, next one's defective as well. And our line speed now is, of course, 75. What's that sign? I've not noticed that sign before. Bragbury Junction. That's what this is called. Bragbury. I'm going to pull that out my bum as a bit of East Coast Mainline trivia. Hang on. Here, what I'll do. Oh, crikey. Overdriving it. So you may. I can't remember if I forgot to speak about this or not before I muted myself. But there's a guard. The guard. So one of the mentor guards was asking me route knowledge questions. And I got most of them right, even though I've never been formally trained on the East Coast Mainline route. So I'm going to find him. I'm going to send him a text message. Brian. We tapped that signal so I can get past that. There we go. I've texted him, and let's see if I get an answer before we pull into London. I might. I'm not sure if he may not be working today. But you and me all know where Bragbury Junction is. Let's see if my mentor train manager, who's definitely signed this route, say my mentor, one of my friends who's a mentor train manager, sorry, um, can find it without looking at his notes. To be fair, if he had took his notes, I wouldn't blame him because they don't go over Hartford very often. Because we don't have anything that is booked to run via Hartford. It's all sort of diverts and basically route knowledge days that to get yourself over this. So, be interesting to see if he can pull it. If he can't, I wouldn't be too concerned. But yeah. Anyway, our next stop, though, next and final stop will be King's Cross. So I'm keeping letting the speed get away from me. We are going down a hill here on the Hartford Loop. So just to show you the sort of line we're taking, we've turned off at Stevenage and we'll rejoin the main line at Bounds Green. We actually did this as a first look for the P&A wagons on the AP66, the original one. But yeah, I thought we could do it on this as well because I've done that but many sort of different variations on the southbound passenger run. But I've never done a passenger by Hartford. Obviously, this one's not booked to run this way, but it's just a fun little diversion route to take. I will do it probably with a 313 at some point when I can be bothered to deal with how bad the brakes are on a 313. To be fair, the 313 is just old now. Like, if it was a newer cab and a newer sort of feature train, I would probably do it. Text response. And he's not got the right answer yet, so I've given him a hint of go south. I've given him a good hint there. I said, think, go south. Think between Stevenage and London south. It's a good hint, but it's not giving it away because you won't think Hartford. I hope it's called that. I've not got a track atlas. So actually, have I got? No, I've got a track atlas somewhere. I just don't know why. I will check the track atlas when we stop. There we go. It was actually autocorrect messing me up, so I called it Bradbury, not Bragbury. Have a chance at a little look at the yeah 717. So you can see its tail lamps are little highlights. It's got the little escape ramp hatch in the front, so this opens and a ladder pops out basically, and you got 6 or 717s, and then this is half a carriage sidings. So little things like that, they do entertain me. Ba, ba, ba. Oh, that's too many notes in that. I thought I could do Dukes of Hazzard, which I know is problematic, but meh. I'm decided to take the stance that, like, unless it's actively harming people, like actively, rich people are always going to be rich. I'm always going to be poor, and my choice is be poor and miserable, be poor and do the things that make me happy. Um, that's a very oversimplified version. You said fiction. So you got it wrong. I've got one over on him. No, to be fair, he's a good guy, but yeah. So you can see the train's actually regenerating ever so slight amount of brake in here. Must have been step one. You can see that's a stopper out in front of us. But we're up here, with 1 Papa 93. In front of us is Moorgate to Hartford. But we're sort of now a beam to Walham Green. to really double check the track map, or he's going to have got one on me. Right, I'm going to put you guys in charge of driving, and I'm going to reach over for the track atlas because I'm going to embarrass myself here. Everything okay, guys? Why do I keep the track atlas in a big box of stuff? I don't know. Sorry. Why do I keep the track atlas in a box full of things? Does a newt fear death? I don't know. Very few of you will have actually got that. Um, and those of you who did, you're cool. I'm after page 31 to 32. Midland, Alsey. British Gifford, the Alpha Crossings. No, it is. Yeah, it's Bradbury Junction. I'm gonna take a picture and send. It's not exactly an exciting job as Hartford leave. I don't know why I started braking so heavily there. Well, just, I guess, coast between sort of 68, 69 and 75, just not using much run of power. The timetable's gone out the window anyway. I believe we'll be 15 late regardless, even if we sort of nail the timetable, or nail the speed limits. So I believe it's about 15 minutes that Hartford loop adds. Now, this is Cuffley, I believe. Not Cuffley. What? No, I can't remember. But basically, this is the sort of the Gordon Hill. My apologies. That's sort of this is the start of the dense stations on the approach to London. So I'm just going to gently coast it down. So Gordon Hill used to be where some of the Moorgates would terminate. But I think basically it was before they extended them to Stevenage, I'm going to say. Moorgate, so this is out of Moorgate, I should say, correction. Because they expanded Stevenage Station so that it could increase the capacity for Terminators. Yeah, you can see though now we're sort of coming back into the main line again. So we're following Alpha 9-1. He's just at Palmer's Green. You then got a unit coming out of Bowes Park in the reversing sidings, Bowes Park, and then we drone back on the main line. So we've basically just skipped this entire segment out here of the main line proper. Hope you I've sort of found this interesting. So I always feel like one of the things we do in train sim or scenario creators is we can fall into a habit of just a standard run, and that's what the majority of train driving is. You know, most of the time you get to go and do just the normal timetabled things, but the skill of the job is the ability to adapt on the fly and sort of still use that or still operate the train safely, but also I would say fully diverting maybe once every couple of months I do. So it's nice to just build that into the scenario pattern of every sort of couple of dozen scenarios you get to do something a bit different. Because we get run by Hartford on a pretty regular way. Well, Hartford I've done once or twice. I've done so in bear in mind I've been on board train crew for 2 years. I've done the drum coast a few times, unplanned diverts. Never done an unplanned Carlisle. That's because that's just logistically a nightmare. You need an Edinburgh driver to take that as well because unless you can like, oh, um, phew, that would have been bad. I'll report myself for that later. Um, so you can see I put the train into emergency brakes. Now, as the speed drops over 10 miles an hour, or is it 5? No, it's not. It's about 3. The brakes come off, but they don't come off enough. So that basically like to start moving. So you basically force you to stop. Something like a non-TPWS for HST, you can smash it into emergency and then take it straight back out of emergency, and you will lose about 20 miles an hour of speed, but the train will actually like recover and allow it to take power again. Got the warning for a Baji, a neutral section. So I'll do my joke that you missed before. Happy train, sad train, happy train. There you go. That was the peak of humour with me. Quite a few whole units we've seen. I think we've seen all the whole trains vehicles, but that is a booked train to be there. So everything you've seen is as per the working timetable. That's all I can say. It's just like I say. Sometimes the timetable conspires to add some things together for you. It's a 30 round here, so we'll stay at 30. And this, of course, is Bowes Park. Now, Bowes Park, the reason there's a reversing line at Bowes Park, I'm glad you asked me that, is it's to keep the trains that are coming out of Bounds Green Depot out of the way of the Hartford sort services, or going into Bounds Green Depot indeed. So if you look to your left, you'll see Bounds Green Intercity Depot. And in front of us, of course, is Alexandra Palace. Never seen it from this angle, actually. Realised I've seen it from this angle. Um, just hang out the window quickly whilst we're here. So you've got mainly LNER units in there, but you've got a. Okay, I think I've overdone the whole units, but yeah, pretty cool. We're down quite a steep slope here in railway terms, so just let it coast up to something sort of closer to 25. You can hear how quiet we are. It's because we aren't powering. Like I say, the engine, you heard me just blip the engine in there. That adds quite a bit, but yeah. Basically, by the time we rejoin the East Coast, the issue's been resolved, so trains are now running via the main line again. We've got a green aspect, so once we get off, I believe we go onto the fast lines here, and our next stop is... Oh, next stop, sorry, is King's Cross. So this train terminates. We've got the green. We've got the 8 car markers which don't apply to us. We're staying at 30 though, because like I say we're crossing out to the main. It's actually a 50 line speed technically that we're in right now, but there's 0 point to accelerating because, yeah, need to get out onto the main. It's been on a right little run there, so there's been some minor little issues that I've had. But overall, I don't think, in the grand scheme of things, this has been a particularly bad outing on the 387. It is. I know they're not particularly good trains in real life, but in the game they are quite fun to drive. You know, they go very quick, they slow down, they accelerate very quick, they slow down very quick. That makes them a good train, and they make some fun noises in the process. And this is sort of like driving a go kart. You know, you put your power down when you want to drive. You put your brake on when you want to stop. I do want to do something on the 91s again because I've not driven one of those in forever, and those are um, those are a bit more of a challenge. This is Hornsey Depot on the left hand side and Fern Park carriage sidings on the right hand side. So we are technically in a 100 mile an hour speed limit here, but we'll not get above 95, so there's no point accelerating past that before we have to start braking it in. And then there's a 717 there, a signal. For some reason he's got his tail lamps on, but oh well. You'll figure that out when you go to the next station. Someone is like patting his head at him aggressively. This is Fern Park Station. And we're at a 90 now, so I'm just going to idle. Because we've got adverse signals, we're catching, and there's a 80 after Finsbury Park Station anyway. So we'll be following the... So obviously that hull that overtook us on the way in, we'll be following him in, basically. Oh, he's just on the outside. And that's the Arsenal Stadium. I'm trying to not follow too closely because there's no point in me sort of chasing right up his backside. Slow to 65. Breakout. So yeah, that is us, and then that's the Northern City Line. So that's where the 717s go, and that's where we came last time we did this in the 66. I think southbound this first time been over this en route line, which is quite shocking, really. So yeah, we've got adverse signals, double amber, single amber next. 45 on the Morpeth board. We're below 45 now. Good. We'll just keep it there. Because, like I say, I know that this isn't a, you know, my route knowledge tells me, sorry, that this is a double amber because I'm following a train. My situation balance tells me that. So, and I know that the line speed gets reduced as I go in at King's Cross, so I might as well just slow down behind this guy. I have actually been up here, well, not this far up, when I went on one of my long layovers in London. I went for quite a long walk. I did 19,000 steps that day. Got the 15 warning, and that is on the way into the tunnels into the cross. I've been over this flyover recently as well. That was quite fun. Velocity's really changed where trains go. I'm intentionally slowing down, approaching at 30, And that's not my signal, that's the signal for the other side. My signal pops out later, I believe. Or if indeed that is my signal, happy days. And we're now in Copenhagen Tunnel. Our next landmark is Gasworks Tunnel, named for the gasworks that are no longer there. And we're under, I believe it's Copenhagen Fields, which is why this named Copenhagen. Or is that just the model railway line? I don't actually know. That's the North London line. That's HS1. You would also see, which isn't fully implemented here, is Canal Tunnel. So that's that tunnel there. And basically, the line disappears under there and goes and appears out into St Pancras. And that's how the Thameslink services access St Pancras from the east coast. They've also got in-cab signalling on there now, which is quite fun. So that's our 15 post. I believe it's a 25 now, but I'm going to follow the in-game speed limits. This is pre-King's Cross and Crossed. So we've only got the two tunnels here. The third tunnel was disused, then it's been brought back into use again. And there we go, we're at King's Cross. So many Azumas. Ah, dear. And it's a single little 387 per 387's on there. As we arrive next to platform 9 3/4, we're actually I've gone to 9 here, I believe. Yeah, that's quite cool. Like, put it next to the actual platform 9 now. Right, I've gone to 9 in King's Cross. So 9 and 3, platform 9 and 3/4 is the part shop, so you've got out the gate line here and to the left. I've got to approach because the back of the train is still overhanging. And a little bit long. To be fair, that I'd like land, so I would have had a better perspective of coming in, but our train's fully platformed. Interestingly, well, the signal's green because it still thinks there's a route set that way. But we'll turn that. We'll turn that. That keys the desk off. That'll deregister. The lights have gone out. We're in AC mode, and I'll just leave the King's Cross board on and let the next crew set that up. But that is it for today's video. So I hope you really enjoyed that, because I actually quite enjoyed that. Like, I normally struggle to record this long, but yeah, that was pretty good. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Tatty, bye bye.